Hey guys, this is Anime Ball Z here, and today we're going to be doing the fourth part of What If Naruto Was an Engineer. I was supposed to upload yesterday, but my schedule got messed up, and I'm going to bring the video to you guys today. Thanks for the support on this What If, I really like where it's going, and I'm going to continue making the parts for you guys. There's nothing much else I want to say in the intro, so without further ado, let's get into the video.
Winter time, all the time, ooh, yeah. Look at the way that I move, swag, disrespectful and I'm rude, okay. I had cocaine in the school.
Orochimaru says, which one of you will come with me tonight? Naruto says, who are you? Orochimaru says, I'm just a genin trying to become a chunin. Naruto says, lies! He rushes at Naruto, then Naruto dodges the quick punch solely from the use of his Kakujogan. He flips away, then blocks a kick from Orochimaru, who gets hit, then flies right over Sasuke. Sasuke rushes in and throws 3 shuriken. Orochimaru catches all 3 and notices they are connected by wire. He pulls Sasuke right to him, then he punches him right back away. Sasuke flies airborne, and Naruto launches a long-range Muon Blast. Orochimaru swivels out of the way, then blitzes towards Naruto. He slams into him and Naruto spits blood. He gets launched 5 or 6 or so meters and almost passes out. He spits blood into the muddy ground below, then stands slowly. Naruto thinks, how is he so strong? Sasuke throws a kunai, but Orochimaru dodges and falls back. A massive snake appears and dives down onto Sasuke. Sasuke prepares to use his Firewall Jutsu, but Naruto's Kurama influence takes form. He rushes at Sasuke and launches a massive Muon Blast that destroys the snake. He then launches multiple to destroy the whole body. Naruto roars at Orochimaru, then flies up with glowing red repulsors. He is able to fly much higher and easier than he flies right at Orochimaru. He punches him back, but Orochimaru lands a powerful kick to his sternum to get him out of the way. He grabs Naruto's wrist and uses the 5-element seal. Naruto falls back, then Orochimaru rushes past him towards Sasuke. He manages to give Sasuke the curse mark and says, you will come to me. For power, Sasuke. Ultimate power. He blitzes away, then Sasuke drops to the ground. Naruto falls back from the 5-element seal and feels much weaker. He slowly stands and the Sound 3 arrive. Naruto sees Sasuke and Sakura passed out and pulls out a chakra ball. He eats it and his chakra flows violently. Naruto walks over to them and says, you won't stand a chance. They say, a 3v1, you really think you stand a chance? Naruto nods and says, you're just a stepping stone on my way to become Hokage. Gozu begins to approach him, then Naruto's Kakujogan spins. He then randomly breathes fire at the 3. He thinks, whoa. He then combines the fireball with the wing cutter technique. The fire blazes and the 3 have certainly received some injury from this attack. Naruto then uses the Gale Claw's jutsu and rushes at them. He slashes Dosu and he falls back, then he kicks Kin in her face. He flips away, then lands. Zaku then says, you hurt my friends. He rushes at Naruto, but Naruto dodges the punch with ease. He slashes his gut, then kicks him in his knee, then slams him away. He rushes to Sasuke after this, and Sasuke stands. His curse mark grows across his body, and then he says, I'll kill them. Naruto hears this and is really confused. He physically stops him, but sees that Sasuke is clearly stronger than him in this form. He says, don't do this, it's just an exam. Sasuke swats him away, then says, stop being weak, Naruto. Naruto says, no. He rushes to Sasuke and stabs him with an electrical kunai deep. Sasuke falls back from the strong electrical shock, then falls. Naruto slowly lays him down, then Sasuke's curse mark falls back. Naruto removes the kunai from him, then Sasuke says, why did you stab me? Naruto says, you were going to kill them. He says, whatever. Sasuke thinks, why did I think that? What is going on? He stands and they continue the exam. They swallow their pride and get Sakura back on her feet to somewhat help them. This also helps them pass the exam. Now let's get to the preliminary matches. The first match we'll be covering is Sasuke vs Yoroi. Sasuke is definitely stronger in this what if from his struggle rivalry with Naruto. He hates to admit it, but he knows if he doesn't train, he will lose to him. Sasuke rushes towards him and sees the glowing blue palm come close to him. Sasuke dodges and kicks in his knee, then kicks him in his chin. He grabs his wrist and throws him airborne. He takes a step forward and leaps up to Yoroi. He grabs his ankle, then spins while airborne. He throws Yoroi down and dives down. He puts his feet on his back, then slams him into the ground. Yoroi's blue palm disperses and his hand drops. Sasuke steps off of his back, then smirks back at his lifeless body. He walks away, then the medical nin come in to take him away. The Sakura vs Ino fight goes pretty much identical. Sakura's cutting of her hair actually happens in this fight instead of the Chunin exams though. This is because the Sound 3 were already dealt with. Now for the fight between Naruto and Kiba. The fight is pretty one-sided. Kiba begins by running at him to test the waters. Naruto parries his hit and hits him with a Muon Blast. Kiba falls back and spits blood. He thinks, what sort of thing is that? Akamaru then runs next to Kiba. They use the Beast Human Clone technique. They then rush at Naruto. Naruto Naruto flips over them both, then blocks a punch. He kicks Kiba back, then grabs Akamaru's arm and spin throws him away. He takes out one of his electrical kunai, then looks at both of the beast humans. He waits for one to approach him, he then gets confronted by one. He dodges a slash and stabs them with the kunai. They get electrically shocked and they return to their normal forms. Kiba falls back, then Naruto removes the electrical kunai from his body. Akamaru rushes at Naruto, but Naruto grabs its arm and just throws it away. He stomps on Kiba and cracks the ground below him from the impact too. He places his kunai back in his pouch and steps away from Kiba. The match ends and Kiba gets taken away by a stretcher. Naruto turns and then just flies up to the stands with his repulsors. The Chunin exam preliminaries and finish and the finals are next up. Naruto still trains under Jiraiya and his Kakujogan actually gave him a second affinity. This was an unintentional feature of the dojutsu, but Naruto works on it. He analyzes why he even did this and he makes files that describe this. Before, Naruto would have never wrote files, but he has eventually become accustomed to it since he kind of has to. He has this file named Affinity Forming. This is where he can modify certain DNA from people to obtain their affinity as if it's his. This is a much better alternative to Kakazu's approach, which was stealing the person's heart. This means that the person will die, but Naruto's approach is pretty much harmless. This means Naruto learns Fireball Jutsu and normally enhances it with the Wind Cutter technique and his Muon blasts. If he makes the Wind Cutter too strong though, he can actually cut the fireball in half and make it weaker. When Naruto also learns how to control Kurama's chakra, it makes his repulsors even more devastating. When Naruto also uses his chakra ball, it makes him really strong as well. He has upgraded his chakra ball multiplier all the way to 2 times. Naruto has got physically stronger, yes, but his versatility now is insane. His arsenal is much wider now, so he can fight very differently. He can also adapt to fights much easier by just using a different chunk of his arsenal. Don't forget that he still has multi-shadow clone jutsu. Naruto learns to summon Gamabunta too, but this isn't the main focus of his training. Sasuke also hasn't been lacking with his training. He has been training with Kakashi just like in canon, and he still learns the Chidori. He gets 2 Tomo in both Sharingan by the time of the Chunin exams and is much stronger. That's one of the advantages he has above Naruto. If it's down to bare bone taijutsu, he wipes the floor with him. He also has some jutsu in his arsenal to top it off, things like the Chidori, the Fireball Jutsu, etc. The finals begin and Naruto is ready to show everyone how much he's improved. When the match begins, he quickly starts by creating 10 shadow clones. They all rush at Neji and begin to interrogate his space. Since Neji's defense is just insane, the shadow clones stand no chance. They all get blown away, then Naruto is seen flying in the air. He launches a Muon blast, but Neji sidesteps and dodges easily. Naruto then flies down with his repulsors and throws an electrical kunai. Neji dodges but gets shocked by the electricity. Naruto then punches him into the ground. He tries to punch him again, but Neji dodges and kicks Naruto back. He falls back a little, then Naruto uses the Fireball Jutsu. Sasuke stands up in the stands when he sees this and thinks, how did he get that? Kakashi also looks in surprise too. Naruto then uses the Wind Cutter technique. The Fireball then rages and this makes it harder for Neji to leave. Neji still manages to dash out of the way of the fire though. Naruto then turns to look at Neji. He flies towards Neji and dives down. He throws 3 consecutive punches, but Neji dodges all 3. Naruto swings his electrical kunai, but Neji dips out of the way and punches the kunai out of his hand. Neji kicks his side area, then follows with 2 quick punches. Naruto falls back but launches a Muon blast and Neji almost gets hit by it. Naruto then closes in and uses the repulsor kick. Neji actually gets hit by this and falls back a little bit. Naruto then throws an electrical shuriken, but Neji dodges and makes sure to leave the vicinity of the shuriken. Then turns and Naruto rushes at him. He throws a punch but just gets punched himself. He flips past the second hit and launches a Muon blast. He lands and Neji blocks the hit. Naruto closes in on him again but gets blasted away by the revolving heaven jutsu. Naruto rolls and rolls away. He thinks he's really skilled when it comes to defense. I need to find a way to break through. He creates 30 shadow clones and they all rush at Neji. Neji uses the revolving heaven a second time and Naruto uses the sharp window between the jutsu disforming and before Neji can block. He tries to throw a repulsor kick but Neji grabs his leg and spin throws him back. Naruto thinks, what? The reason why he can stop Naruto almost effortlessly is because he can see chakra. He basically saw Naruto before the jutsu even broke apart so he could prepare a counter to the incoming attack. Naruto stumbles getting up the first time and gets up on the second time. He says, now I'll show you my full power. He follows by initiating contact with Kurama. He says, I need chakra from you, now. Kurama snarls at him and the snarl alone is deep and malevolent. He even causes the bars on the prison to shake. He lifts his index finger or claw if you will and Naruto's body fuels with Kurama's chakra. He opens his eyes and then his Kakujogan spins in his right eye. He says, you're done! He then launches a blood red fireball from his Muon blast. Neji gets hit by the wave of fire but takes the fire. He is revealed to have some burns and bruises but nothing special. Neji sees the red chakra in his wiring and thinks, what sort of devilish chakra is that? Neji rushes in and tries to use to 64 palms, but Naruto dodges the first palm strike. He gets hit by the air wave, but he kicks Neji back. He slams him away, then throws many quick punches. Neji gets overwhelmed and he tries to throw his own punch. Naruto slips past it and punches him in his sternum. He grabs his wrist and leaps airborne. He then spin throws Neji to the ground and launches a massive muon blast as he's falling. Neji gets hit by it and slams into the ground. The blast explodes and Neji stops resisting. He struggles to get back up, then the match ends. Naruto takes back his dojutsu and Sasuke sees that he copied his combo from the Chunin exam preliminaries. He says, "You copied my combo." Naruto says, "I know." Sasuke grunts and steps down. Naruto turns off his repulsors and his Kurama chakra falls back. The thing that Naruto takes from this match is his taijutsu. He doesn't know any special moves, and when he fights he abuses his ninjutsu superiority and his mechanics to win the match. So that will conclude the fourth part of What If Naruto Was an Engineer. The next part will be coming soon, and I'm already working on the fourth part of What If Deku had a stat leveling quirk. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.